Hello everyone, my name is Eli Ganim and welcome to EG Jewel Lapidary. Today I want to talk to you about fire scale and fire stain. We all have this problem, but I'm going to explain to you why it happens and how can we avoid it. So stick around, don't go away, and I will show you everything that you need to know. Okay, we're back. Now, the main reason for the fire scale or fire stain that we have is the oxygen in the air. So when we use acetylene silver and we heat it up, whether we're annealing or we're soldering, the oxygen it gets in and mixed with the copper and create that. And we don't see it until the end where we start polishing the piece that we have, and all of a sudden you see these patches on the top and ugly color. Then you try to take it out. Now, to take it out, it's if you got them and you try to take them out, the only way you can take it out is by sanding or repolishing again or filing actually. It takes a lot of work to do that, especially if these patches or colors they're deep down, and I'll tell you why they are deep. Now, when we anneal or solder the silver itself, because it contain copper, and when the oxygen and the copper get mixed up together, then that's what's happening. For instance, the sterling silver is 925 per thousand, part per thousand. It's silver, and 75 parts per thousand, it's copper. So this is where the problem is. When we start annealing or heating or soldering, the oxygen get on the surface where the copper is and mixed with it and create a couple of things. One, it's called cuprous oxide, and which is a reddish color, and then the other one is cupric oxide, which is a black color. And that's what we see after we polish and we finish the part, and all of a sudden you see all this coming up, and then you got to take it out. But what we can do is create a barrier on the surface to eliminate the oxygen from going in and mixing with the copper. So how can we do that? And this is what I'm going to explain to you. And one of the things is that I use most of the time is the boric acid. And so I'm going to give you the proportion of mix, which I use boric acid, borax, and denatured alcohol. Now, instead of the alcohol, especially for you guys in California that you cannot even buy it there, you could use water instead, which is it's a bit safer, but it will do the same thing. So let me show you how I mix everything together, and then I'm going to show you the one that I'm going to do. I got a couple of pieces here that I'm going to show you how they work, and then I'm going to show you the other things that I'm using or you can use also to eliminate this problem. And actually what we're trying to do here is just put a surface, a barrier between your oxygen and between the piece of silver that you're working with. So let me show you the amount and the mixture that you're going to do and how you're going to do it. Okay, so let's say you're going to use a container. You could use a plastic container or something that's it's solid, which you could also see through, with the lid that, especially if you're going to use alcohol, you need a good lid to be tight, and so the alcohol will not evaporate. So now, one side of your container, find out exactly how much you want to do. You don't want to put too much, because you could always make new ones. But let's say this is the total amount. On one side, divide it into two. So you get right at half point, just put a mark on your cup or your container. And on the other side, divide it into thirds. So you get 1, 2, 3 thirds. That makes the full one. So you have it up to here. Now, fill up with boric acid. You fill up the half of that container. So you get boric acid, and then the other third, put borax in there. So now we're at this side, so we're putting borax here. The rest here till the end of the third one, or the top that you want, you put denatured alcohol, and then you mix it very well, and then that's how it's going to work. The other thing you could do is that instead of the alcohol, you add water. Same amount, but you add water here, and it will do the same, exactly the same work that the alcohol will do. So this is the amount, and then you gotta find out, like, there's a lot of people get mixed up between boric acid and borax. Well, boric acid is what gives you that surface barrier that on top of your piece that you're working on. The borax is basically it's a flux. So the borax acts as a flux to it. So that's the difference between the boric acid and the borax. Now let me show you one piece that I'm gonna use. Now this is my boric acid right here that I have. This is the container. It's glass. It's a baby food container, but the lid is very tight. So shake it pretty good, and I have this one here, and I'm going to just focus down here just to show you what I'm doing. Okay, so I have a few pieces here that I set for a pendant that I'm working on, and but what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do one piece here, a couple of pieces, just to show you. So make sure that when you use it, because what I'm using here is alcohol, and if you're going to be using alcohol, make sure that after you dip your piece in, this is the base plate, so after you dip it in, okay, and make sure that it's all covered, and you can take it out. Oops. Okay. It went in, but I can't get it out. Okay, here it comes out. So now, just put it here, and I'm going to show you, look at the flame that's coming out here. See that flame? Get that green flame and orange flame, and when it goes out, that it burns the boric acid, and it leaves that nice surface on the top where you could actually make sure that, like, when you start working with it, that will it will not get the heat in with the copper and get this coloring that we don't need. Here's another one. I'm going to do the same thing. It's here, and same thing. You can see the flame here. So this is as simple as that. Now, when we do the actual soldering, you still have to use flux. So this is already coated, both of them. So if I'm going to put it on top here, and I'm going to solder, I also going to put the flux in order to solder it. So the flux goes in afterwards. Okay. Okay. So now you've seen how simple it is. Once you get the mixture and you dip your parts right into that mixture and you just light it up. And the reason for lighting it up is it dries the surface with the boric acid, and that's where it's going to stay and prevent the oxygen from going in, because the oxygen is the problem that we have. Some other people, they will do, I didn't try it, but you could do that, is by having, if you're using your torch and you have oxygen and acetylene, for instance, you put more gas out of your torch instead of oxygen. And what happens is, when the gas goes out, it needs oxygen. Now, any fire will need oxygen to light. So, I mean, if you have, let's say, as an example, if I have this one here and it caught fire by accident, all I have to do is take the lid and close it. By closing it, what happens is I cut the oxygen in the air from coming in, and it will just shut it off. I mean, it will go off. So without panicking and jumping all around, this is the way to do it. So basically what I'm trying to say is that oxygen, or fire, they will need oxygen in order to burn. So we're trying to eliminate the amount of oxygen. So when you increase the gas that's coming out from your torch, now that gas, in order to burn, it will need oxygen. So what is happening is taking the oxygen from the atmosphere around the area. So you're not getting the oxygen into the piece that you're working on, but it's absorbed by the fire itself. So it helps eliminating a little bit of the oxygen going in. But down here, like I said, I have the borax, which is this one here, and I also have the boric acid, which is this. Now, like I said, boric acid is what actually coat the surface from the oxygen getting through it. So this is what coats the surface. The borax is basically like a flux. Now, this is, and then you add the denatured alcohol, or you could add the water. So water will do the same thing. Now, the other thing that you could do without having this mixture, you could buy these from Rio Grande. So this one here, it's called Stop Ox. It's right here. If you can see it. Here. Stop Ox. And basically, the name says it all. It says, like, it stops the oxidization that's happening while you're heating the piece, or annealing, or doing the soldering. Now, this here also is the flux. So if you see that, it's a flux. So you could have both of them. One, it will stop the oxidization, and the other one, it will ready flux you could use for fluxing. And since we're talking about flux, here's another thing I would like to show you. This one also is from Rio Grande, and it's called Handy Flux. So the Handy Flux also is pretty good to use. Now, this one here, it comes in a container, and it comes in as a paste. Now, the problem with that, after a while, the paste will dry up, and you can see here it's all dried up. So, but that's not a big problem. What you could do is, if you can have a paintbrush with water, and you go in, you mix it with water, and you could use it as flux. So you use that as flux, and that's also is pretty good. The other thing that you could do, which is, again, this is borax, and this comes as a cone, and then you get the dish. The dish could be anything, but I bought it from the same place. So the dish is basically, it's not glazed. and it's rough. So what happened is that when you rub the cone on the plate and add water in it, so you add water, not much, just a little bit of water, and then you just rub it in, and it's going to create a slurry of borax. And again, you take the brush, take a little bit of the borax, and that's your flux, and you just put it on your piece, and that will work. This one here, it will cost, actually I don't remember how much I paid for this one here, but the shipping is not, they're not expensive, but the shipping was more expensive than the actual piece. So what I did, and I think you could do the same thing, is if you have a friend of yours that want to buy one, so both of you could get together and the shipment will be the same. So you could split the cost of the shipment between the two of you, and then it becomes actually cheap to use it. So this here, it's also good to work with, and it's very handy, and it's going to last for a long, long time. Actually, this one here, it will last you for, I would say, at least 5 years, easy. And it depends how. I mean, if you use it every day, it will be between 40 years to 5 years. So here you go. So this is good to use also. But the main thing, the main idea for what we're doing here is to cover that surface, okay? While you're heating or soldering, you don't want the air or the oxygen get into your metal, which is your silver. And as I said, your silver contain copper, and the mixture between the oxygen and the copper is what gives you these black stuff, or the surfaces that actually doesn't look nice when you finish your work. The other thing is, if this is happening, actually the blotches or the discoloration is not just on the surface, but it's all the way deep in. And it depends how deep it is, that's how much you gotta grind or polish. And that's create another problem. So if you have fine details on your part, now you gotta take all that off, and that create a problem. So your best bet is to use the boric acid, the borax, or get that ready flux with the stop ox, which is this one here, that actually will stop the oxidization from happening. Again, when you use this one here, you put it on the surface, and then you heat your piece of silver, and then that will give you that barrier on the surface. Then you put your flux and you start working with that. So I hope that this will help you eliminating this problem, and I hope that whether you're going to do it with the mixture of the borax and the boric acid, like I said, you could use water or you could use alcohol. So both of them, they will work, and this way you will deal with the fire scale, and you will prevent it from happening. I hope you like this video, and if you have any question, please just send me a note down at the bottom and let me know. And if you like it, just give it a thumbs up, and I hope you subscribe. Just down here you're going to see the picture of me with the motorcycle. Just click on it and subscribe in order to see all the new videos that I'm going to be uploading. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good day.